Hello, everyone. This is KJ, your host. Now, this is Loves Teaching Will Travel. I'm so happy to have you back. Thank you so much for continuing to listen each week. There's so much here I'd love to share. And speaking of sharing, if you haven't already heard about the subscription for bonus episodes, now is your chance to sign up. There's so much that you can get each month, and I'm looking forward to any questions you might have about the subscription. You can always leave us some voice messages or reach out on Instagram. There's a lot that I can answer for you, and I'm just happy that you're here. So, to get us started on our episode today, we're talking about educational tourism. So, what is educational tourism? In thinking about this, there are some questions I think we need to ask ourselves. So, what is it, first of all? And what can we get from it? What's the why? Why should we engage in these type of activities? And also, how can we find the opportunities to go on these educational tourism trips or study abroad opportunities that are available? So, some background: my first trip to Europe was actually through a trip based on educational tourism. It honestly sparked a passion for travel in me, and this happened back in 2016. Now, thinking about what is educational tourism, we need to look at it as there's no real definition. I've tried and I've looked, and there's really no real definition for educational tourism. But ultimately, what it is, it's seen as travel that is organized with learning as the motivation, right? This is an opportunity for an exchange of knowledge. It could be exchange programs, school trips abroad, whether it's through high school or the college level. Even engaging in master's level programs abroad can be considered education tourism. Now, looking at some adult study tours, these are also considered educational tourism opportunities, and these programs can be used for personal as well as professional development, which is where it took me when I was able to head to Europe in 2016. Now, there's so many educational tourism programs available, and honestly, there's something to fit everyone, whether it's your budget, your teaching level, how long you've been in the field. There's something honestly for everyone out there, and each of them provide something unique. And some of the programs I've dealt with include Education First as well as book bag tours. Now, they aren't the only ones out there, and they're honestly not industry leading programs. You can also find opportunities through global volunteers as well as capital tours. And from there, you're able to connect with some peers in the field. You're able to connect with new people who probably don't even have anything to do with the field of education or teaching, but it's a great way to meet new people, connect, learn about new cultures, and be able to do it in an environment that is outside of your home, outside of your environment, your day to day work experience, and just really get to know new people and new spaces outside in the world. And what I've come to learn as I've traveled is that the world is so much smaller than we think, right? Many of us have so many things in common. We share a lot of similarities, but we also have some differences that I find to be unique and amazing and make us who we are, right? Overall. So, thinking about educational tourism, my best advice is to reach out to those who've done it, right? Reach out to the people who have had these experiences, especially if you're on the fence. If you're not sure whether you want to take the plunge and you're like, I don't know, is this really for me? It's definitely best to connect with those who've already done it in order to get some real live experiences from those people. And they can tell you the pros, the cons, and what really happens when you go through these experiences. Now, as a kid growing up, I always loved watching Rick Steves, Samantha Brown, and I watched them on public television because, cable's expensive. And through this, I was really able to learn more about the world. But my dilemma was finances, right? Finances, resources. these were limited with my knowledge of international travel, right? So I think for me, it's important to learn more about the world through educational experiences because I find it was my gateway, and B, I think it's a great way for people who are a little nervous. Perhaps they're not sure what they should be booking or spending on. And through my travel experiences to Finland and to Sweden, I was able to learn more about really cultivating experiences that work for me, what I like, what I'm into, whether it's cooking classes or just really spending time walking around a city and getting to know it. Having a educational tour build out experiences for you where you have time, where you're doing professional development or you're learning about a country and a culture, but also having free time for you to really explore and learn and do some things on your own. I think it's a great place to start if you're nervous or on the fence or just haven't had much experience outside of traveling internationally, and you're looking to get engaged in educational tourism or in travel overall, and you don't know where to start. I think this is a great place to start because it gets you out there. It gets you in these countries and in these new cities where you can say, you know what? It's not as scary as I thought it would be, right? You get that opportunity to not really take the plunge, but you get that little baby step to say, okay, I've done it, I've tried it, it's not that bad. Maybe I can do this on my own. And this is where it led me on my path to more travel with my children, more solo travel. And I honestly, I never looked back, right? After this travel experience with the educational tourism program, I never looked back. It was like I hit the ground running. I found a new way to explore the world and I just wanted more. And I think it's a great way for you to explore the world as well. And this is why I wanted to share this on today's episode. Now, we're going to take a mini break. And when we come back, we'll dig a little bit deeper into the why for some of us, right? Why should we be participating in these things? And also, where can we find these programs? Where are they? Right? So we'll be right back and we'll dig a little bit deeper. Okay? While we're on a break, let me tell you about something new I've added to the podcast. It's subscriptions. Now, there are going to be some bonus episodes joining, our podcast bi-weekly. You can sign up. This is a great way for you to hear from some of our past interview guests and get some background on what they've done, where they've been, and get some behind the scenes of what's really going on when we decide to relocate and teach in another country. So if you're interested, please don't hesitate to sign up, join us, and we'll see you next time. We're back and we're looking at the bigger question, the why. Why educational tourism? Now, thinking about your why and what you can get from participating in these experiences, first off, if you're up for an adventure, but you want to take things slow, this is a chance for you to explore a new country, not only with strangers, but sometimes with peers, right? This is people you might know personally or fellow educators, even colleagues sometimes are hopping on trips together in order to see the world, right? Now, it's a great way to try new things, like me, sitting naked in a Finnish sauna. I never looked at my body the same way again after that. There was something spiritual and liberating about this experience. And the next year, honestly, I found myself topless on a beach in Mallorca. It was one of those things that I never thought I would ever do. Like, oh no, I'm going outside naked. Honestly, being in the sauna, being able to just take some deep breaths and close my eyes and just not really think about anything, or even just thinking about my life in its current state, it just gave me a certain sense of liberation that I never had before. And I just sitting in there with other women, not even worried about our bodies, what we look like, no shame, no fear. It felt good. It felt really good. And I never looked back after that. So these are some things that you might experience on these adventures, on these trips, right? It's also a great way to network. You can connect with fellow educators, newfound education partners that you can connect with in countries, new countries you probably never even heard about before. And you can learn more about their education system, learn more about what they do to help create a positive learning environment for their students, what their culture brings into their classroom. And in this network, we can do some reciprocal support services or workshops, or provide each other with tools that can help our classrooms to work better and function better, because we've made this new connection and this new network, right? So, educational tourism isn't just about learning and travel and being able to get to a new country. It's also a great way to connect with new people, learn a new language, learn about a new culture. For me, I fell in love with Swedish food, and I mean not the IKEA type that you're going into IKEA and hey, here are the pancakes. I really fell in love with Finnish food and Swedish food, and I felt that I was able to connect with this food and this culture on a different level. That now, honestly, going into Finland or Sweden, these are one of my favorite, these are both my favorite countries to visit. I do enjoy Sweden, but I have to give it to Finland. This is my top, 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 top in my top 5 places to actually spend time. And it feels good going. I'm actually going back again this year because there's just something amazing about the people, the culture, the food, and just breathing that beautiful, crisp, fresh air that I just love and I can't get enough of. And I honestly encourage all of you to take some time to really think about whether educational tourism is for you, right? If you're scared, if you're like, I don't know where to start, this is a great way to start. This is a great way to dip your toe into kind of thinking about if you want to relocate, if you want to engage in professional development opportunities abroad. This is a great way to dip your toe in the water, so to speak, to think about if this is even for you. Now, if you love travel, this is a great way to see the world. If you're not really a planner, right? If you're not really a planner for trips and you're like, you know what, I really don't want to sit and do accommodations, flights, transportation, educational tourism might be something to help you get started, right? Because with many of these organizations, they are planning everything down to the T for you. So getting around, being able to fly in, fly out, your accommodation, these are things that can be included in your packages. So, this is why it's really important to do your research to know what you're getting when you go on these trips, because they're not all created equal. And I've learned that most certainly dealing with 2 different companies, right? Now, as a teacher considering relocation, again, this is a great way to dip your toe in the water to see if it's for you. Is international education something that you want to engage in, right? This is a great way for you to see what education looks like in other countries and if it is even something that's for you, right? I highly, highly recommend education tourism for first time travelers. It's something that I think is helpful to help you feel a little less nervous. You can feel safe if you feel like maybe, I don't know if I'm going to be safe going out here on this solo trip. Well, if you don't think you're ready, this might be a great way for you to get started on your travels, because you're with a group of people who share your interests, share your passion, whether it's for teaching, cooking, whatever it is, on these educational tours. Now, if you're asking yourself, how can I participate in one of these opportunities? I have some great resources for you. I have some resources from EF, Book Bag Tours, from Road Scholar to Capital Tours Inc. There's so many I have available for you. Please check out the show notes. There's something out there for everyone. Don't hesitate to check out the blog, take a look at the show notes, find the links. If you're on the fence and you have some questions, find me on Instagram. You can always find me at always underscore travel underscore light. It's a great way to connect, ask questions, see what my experience has been with some companies that are out there. And if you are interested, I'd definitely be happy to help you out. Don't hesitate to connect with me. I again appreciate you taking the time to listen today to the podcast, and I look forward to seeing you again. And if you want to connect on social media, I'm here. Have a great day. Bye.